This evening's subject in our 12 and 2012 segment is a bit of a paradox. Heavy on credentials, yet relatively young in political years. Traditional in many ways, but groundbreaking in others. Tonight, Louisiana's energetic governor, Bobby Jindal.
When you get elected governor, you certainly face challenges that you don't expect. You actually get to make decisions that make an impact, that make a difference.
Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal is only 39 years old. If he were to run in 2012 and be elected, he'd be the youngest president in history. That's why it's so remarkable that when people talk about Bobby Jindal's best selling point, it's his experience. Jindal is the former secretary of the Louisiana Department of Health and Hospitals. Served as Assistant Secretary at the Department of Health and Human Services under George W. Bush, is a former congressman, and currently is in his first term as governor of Louisiana, a state with a daunting array of challenges.
The reason I ran for governor, and what I think is the biggest challenge facing our state, even bigger than the oil spill, bigger than the hurricanes, was making sure that Louisiana's people didn't have to leave home to pursue their dreams. For 20 years, we've been the only state in the South that's been sending more people out of this state than have been moving into this state because of a lack of economic opportunities. We have turned that around.
Bobby Jindal was a boy wonder, and he was very young when he burst on the scene. He's always been talked about as a future star of the Republican Party. He comes off as a competent and effective governor.
We've announced over 35,000 new jobs, $5 billion in private capital investment, enacted the largest income tax cut in our state's history. I made the commitment we're not raising taxes in this state.
Do you think that that formula could translate nationally?
Absolutely. What we've done here can work across the country. If you cut spending, cut taxes, create a predictable environment for small and big businesses to create jobs, you can create better opportunities for your people. The problem is in Washington, you've got an administration that thinks all of the answers have to come from government.
But Jindal's Democratic critics say for all the governor's complaints about President Obama's policies, he's quick to grab federal cash when he can. You took stimulus money. Yeah, you've been critical of the stimulus.
As governor of Louisiana, it's my obligation when the federal government decides to spend some of our tax dollars to look through and see line by line which programs make sense for Louisiana, which ones don't. So we did turn down several pots. The ones where they didn't come with strings, certainly we've used that. But I will tell you, we would be much better off today without many of the policies coming out of Washington, D.C. The Obama health care bill is going to cost my state billions of dollars.
Would you advocate repealing it and replacing it, and with what?
First of all, absolutely I'm for repealing it. Look, as Republicans, we spent months telling people how awful this bill was, how it raises taxes, how the mandate's unconstitutional, how we don't need to put 16 million people into an unreformed Medicaid program, one-size-fits-all government approach. Secondly, absolutely we need to replace it. Nobody was happy with the way health care was before. We need refundable tax credits. We need voluntary purchasing pools. The fundamental choice is, who do you want making these decisions? Do you want the doctor with the patient making the decisions? Do you want to empower the patient? Or do you want some bureaucrat in Washington, D.C. making these decisions for you?
Jindal's track record at such a young age almost overshadows what would really make a presidential run historic: his ethnic roots. Jindal is the son of Indian immigrants. If nominated, he'd be the first minority on a GOP presidential ticket. You are the child of immigrants. How do you see reform?
Immigration for America has been a good thing when it's done legally and properly. But there's another part of the immigration debate that sometimes gets overlooked. In addition to securing our border, I'm a big believer in the America as the melting pot, the assimilation. Now, this is not always politically correct, but I think it's important that people that come here should want to learn how to speak English. People that want to come here should want to learn to be a part of the American culture.
If you had to choose one foreign policy issue that was most pressing, what would it be?
It is this war on Islamic terrorism. It is standing up for freedom. We should make no apologies for our country. We shouldn't think that we have caused these terrorists to attack us.
That's another sharp jab at President Obama, who was seen by many Democrats as someone who could burnish America's image around the world. The parallels between the two politicians is surely why the GOP chose Jindal to deliver the Republican response to Obama's first State of the Union address.
Who amongst us would ask our children for a loan so we could spend money we do not have on things we do not need?
Unfortunately, it suffered in comparison.
Well, I think I pretty clearly proved to the country that I can't read a teleprompter.
Do you look back at that and say, maybe I should have done bullet points?
I should have done that. I think it would have gone a lot better for me. I enjoy talking to people, and I enjoy just interacting with them naturally without notes.
Jindal regained lost stature and more when the Louisiana coast was hit by the BP oil spill.
Instead, we've got this oil coming in unimpeded.
I spent months along the coast, nearly every day, meeting with local fishermen and people that live and work off this coast. Time and time again, Louisiana people who know these waters came up with innovative solutions. Things like vacuum barges, things like using pipes or rocks or sand berms to collect that oil. Instead of getting help, too many times we were met with just the same old bureaucracy, the same old red tape, trying to get permission from multiple government agencies.
It's hard to listen to Bobby Jindal and not come away thinking he's a successful politician in a hurry. But when asked about a White House run, he repeatedly has said, not so fast. In 2008, you said this: I am not running for the White House in 2012. I don't have any intent of running for any other office. I'd really like to go back to the private sector. This year, your actions of building a campaign network, of endorsing people, suggest otherwise. What are your plans?
When the other candidates are running for president, I'll be running for re-election. I've got the job that I want. We're doing good work here, but we've got more work to do.
Now, since our interview, excerpts of Governor Jindal's upcoming book have come out. He is critical of President Obama's response to the Gulf oil spill, saying the administration seemed more concerned with the political aftermath. Jindal writes, quote, political posturing becomes more important than reality. He also says his concerns about the economic impact of the president's drilling ban were ignored. Quote, the human element seemed invisible to the White House. Please join us Monday as we profile former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney in our 12 in 2012.